I'd like to welcome you. It's hard to believe we'd had 16 of these, but welcome to the 16th, and I think it's one of the most interesting on the future of health. And I think you'll see health from many different dimensions, and I'll say more about that in just a moment. What I did want to do is talk about two major transitions ISB has either undergone or is about to undergo, just to put in perspective just exactly where ISB is with regard to health. And to do that, I'll talk a little bit about the Institute. So as it's 17 years old, we started in 2000, 9 faculty members, 180 staff or so, and quite a reasonable budget. And I think what we've done is carved out a really unique approach to science and to our culture, taking a systems view of biology and disease, and of course, coining the term systems medicine and healthcare that's predictive and preventive and personalized and participatory, P4 healthcare. Thinking about new technologies and strategies, and you'll hear a lot about that tomorrow, contributing enormously to the computational wherewithal of things, creating, I think, in many ways, a unique cross-disciplinary environment that spans across all the levels of scientists here at the Institute, pushing the idea that most hard problems are big science problems that need systems-driven, cross-disciplinary, integrative approaches, big science approaches. And of course, that obviously requires strategic partnerships and so forth. And we've had a long time commitment to transferring knowledge to society, and have done that in two major ways. One, K through 12, and now other kinds of science education. And we've spun off companies. ISB has spun off 8 companies in the 16 or 17 years of its existence. So the first big transition was just a year ago, in April of 2016. We affiliated with the Providence health system, now Providence St. Joseph's healthcare system. And that affiliation both brought financial stability to ISB, but more important, it allowed us to think about bringing P4 medicine directly to the patients of Providence, to create clinical trials we call translational pillars for major diseases, to carry out entirely new approaches to the education of physicians as to the principles of the new medicine, and to think about new technology platforms, which we won't really talk about all that much. And this, I think, has enormously transformed both the future of ISB and its trajectory in the upcoming future. The values that we have for ISB, I've kind of listed already in some ways. The vision is to obviously transform healthcare. I think we have the best faculty/administration group we've had during my academic career. It's a delight, obviously, to work here at ISB. The culture, I think, exudes one of can-do and opportunity and interaction and cross-disciplinarity and so forth. We've created lots of strategic partnerships and, as I already said, transferring knowledge to society. But one thing that ISB has to think about in view of the fact that I'm 78 years old is the continuity of leadership. So it's with a great deal of pleasure that I announce that Jim Heath is ISB's next president. And Jim is supposed to be here. He might not have made it yet, but there he is. Great. Thanks, Jim. So I think he is really an exceptional leader, and I'll make a few comments about why I think so, as well as a scientist and technologist. So he'll become president in January of 18, and I'll stay on as Chief Science Officer at Providence, St. Joseph's Health, and I'll remain on the board at ISB and a faculty member of ISB. And of course, I think Jim is one of the very best candidates we could have gotten in the world, both because of his leadership and because of his science. And here is a list of some of his attributes, prizes, and so forth. But I do want to say, I think Jim is an incredibly unusual individual in that he started life in Richard Smalley's lab at Rice. And Jim was the one who really invented buckyballs and probably should have gotten a Nobel Prize for that. He then went on to work in various places, AT&T and UCLA and so forth, and solid-state electronics and quantum physics and things like that. But while at UCLA, he started getting interested in biology. And Jim has learned incredibly deeply cancer biology, and he's developed pioneering techniques, some of which I'm sure you'll hear about in his talk. Jim has started 6 different companies, so he is enormously entrepreneurial. He's led a whole series of major approaches to science, strategic partnerships, and so forth. So I think in every way he's ideal, and I think ISB's future is solid and safe in Jim's hands. So another applause for Jim. Yeah. So as to the symposia today, these are the 4 major topics you're going to hear about. You'll hear about them from very, very differing points of view. And I think this is going to bring together the very leading edge of a whole series of disciplines so that at the end of 2 days, you'll walk away with, I think, a pretty firm grasp of what the future of healthcare is going to be.